Hey everybody, I'm back from my vacation. I have a lot of people asking about tones. Now I'm going to show you how I get my tone and my overall setup, okay? So this is my main setup. I use a Marshall MG15 plugged into a Joyo high gain distortion. You can get it on Amazon. And then I have a secondary Boss D1 distortion plugged into a Donner Chorus. And that feeds into my Marshall MG15 like I stated. Sometimes I throw a wah in if I'm feeling technical and fun and all that, but usually I don't because it's a lot of work. Now, setting-wise, I use about 8 or so gain, about 8 treble, 3 mid. I like to keep it sort of low, and then the volume's whatever you like. And then for the Boss, I like to keep it about 3 to 4 distortion, 5 to 6 tones, 7, 8 level, and then I like to keep a low rate in that 3 to 4 range, with about like a 5 to 6 level in def. For my amp itself, I like to keep low volume, about 2 or 3 gain, 5 or 6 bass, 6 to 7 middle, and 7 to 8 treble, and that gives me a really tight sound. When it works right, it's off and on. Sometimes it sounds really tight, sometimes it doesn't. It just depends. Now, the reasoning behind my settings is it'll give you a decently high gain sound that's, for the most part, tight. It's kind of like that signature Pantera sound a little bit, mixed with, like, Metallica. You can definitely tell my inspiration. But that's kind of the origin of how I get my tone. Of course, it's not perfect. I know that. Some people like it. Some people hate it. So, personal opinion, like I said. Anyway, that's why I do what I do, setup-wise. It gets, the pedals, they build on top of each other. The two distortions mix. It gets that nice sound. And then you have the chorus to add a little bit of detail, a little bit of enlarging of the sound. And then, of course, the amp settings, you want that low gain so you're not overdoing it because you already have 2 distortion pedals. And then you want that high treble, low mids, of course. That's how you get that signature tight scoop sound. So that's kind of why I do what I do with the settings. And of course, the rest is in your hands and fingers. My fingers are different from yours, so it's going to sound a little different. I might be more aggressive on the strings or less aggressive, so I'm going to get a different tone and sound. So that's a big factor. So it can be a little bit buzzy, but this is with everything plugged in working. Yeah. Now with my Ibanez, I get a lot different sound. I prefer the sound on this one, which is why it's my main guitar, but you'll get some like this. Yeah, so you get a lot different sound. So that's about my general tone and setup. Some people like it, some people don't. It's really a personal opinion, but yeah, that's how you get it. Okay, a few more things I want to add. Like I said, it's all in the fingers. It's all in your play style. You'll get a different sound, of course. No one's going to have the exact same equipment as me, and if you do, then I guess you do. I don't know. But the thing that is important to remember is you got to make what you have. You got to use it to your best of your abilities, okay? This stuff is expensive. I don't like buying new stuff because it's expensive and I don't always have a lot of money, of course. It'd be like that. But anyway, you got to think, if I can make what I have, whether it's a bad amp or no pedals or bad guitar or good amp, whatever. If you can make it sound the best to your abilities, then keep going with that. You don't need all this fancy equipment. Of course, it helps and makes it sound cooler. You might think you sound better. Sometimes you don't, So keep that in mind. It's all about how you play and just keep practicing. And, yeah, that's how you get my tone, though, overall.